All right. What's good? What's not? I messed up my own intro. What's good? What's not? Tell me why. And remember your own uh intro for the videos. Remember that. What's good? What's not? Tell me why. And remember, my comment sections are and always will be a safe space, even for Star Wars fans. Welcome back or to my channel where we watch a bunch of movies and TV shows just so we can say we synced it. And sometimes when we sync things, we also like to talk about it. So, right in line with what I just said, I just wanted to talk some Star Wars today. Obviously, hopefully, I am dropping this video on Star Wars Celebration Day, which is, of course, May the 4th, because May the 4th be with you. May the Force be with you, obviously, being alive. But anyway, um, since that was coming up, I was like, "Ooh, what else am I gonna talk about?" Kind of randomly. Now that I done got my random wrestling video out the way, more of that coming soon. I'm sorry for anybody who was. I don't think anybody was expecting some WrestleMania content, but because I definitely planned on ranking the matches, but then I kind of had to like rewatch the entire night too, and then like I started watching a bunch of content and getting other bunch of people's thoughts on everything and kind of jumping into my own initial feelings about it. And then I was just at a state where like, oh, I don't want to start regurgitating everything that I just heard off of somebody else's stuff. So, kind of just avoided that whole situation by not doing a video. In the future, we'll just like hopefully not do that, and I'll just do things anyway. But on to the next thing. Like I was saying, I am here today to talk some Star Wars. Now, I am not a Star Wars lifer. I will admit, growing up, I was one of those kids that was like, yeah, Star Wars, that shit is for nerds, bro. Like, and not completely ignoring the fact that I was a nerd. Um, like, you don't grow up like loving Power Rangers your entire life without just like at some point you have to submit to just being a nerd. Like Power Rangers, superheroes, like you just got to be like, okay, like we know what crowds we need to start messing with. So yeah, I want to say it was the literally like first couple weeks of like the for like COVID lockdown, like when in like March when everything started shutting down, and like I was just at home watching things. I'm pretty sure I just had got finished with Game of Thrones at the time because that was also another one that I never watched until COVID. Um, and I remember I had Disney Plus at the time, and I was just like, "What am I paying for this service for?" And the big thing that they were marketing at the time was Mandalorian, and I was just like, "I don't know." And then I believe I read something that said it was one of those things that you could just kind of jump straight into. You didn't have to watch anything Star Wars before that, and you can just kind of enjoy the story for what it is, and that made it something that I definitely wanted to try. Hold on, give me a second here. I don't know if it's doing it just because it's like, okay, anyway, thought it was a technique. But that made me definitely want to try the Mandalorian. So when I actually went and watched the first episode, it was so good. Like, it was so freaking good that I just was like, wait a minute, no, I don't care what the people said. I have to know what's happening in this universe now because there's a baby Yoda right here. How did we get to here? Unfortunately, watching the movies did not fill in that gap for me at all. But I will say I did enjoy the journey that the story took me on, and I am now I would consider myself a Star Wars fan because of the Mandalorian. So today I'm about to go through and just talk through all of the Star Wars content that I have seen. There are a couple things that I've noticed are not on this tier list yet. I am not at the point where I am making these lists myself, like with all of the graphics, and then going through and doing the video. No, 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 no. I go to the tier ranking site, find one that has the stuff on there, and then I just go off of theirs. Okay. So they don't have the Skeleton Crew show that I sort of watched, but kind of dropped it just because um I want to say it was when I was watching it weekly, and it just the story didn't grab me enough to keep me watching it weekly. And plus, it definitely seemed like something that was geared more towards kids, like in like preteens, something like that age range. Um, Although I will admit there were some episodes where the story did legit seem good enough to where I might go back and watch it and binge it. But at least from what I saw of that, I would say that that would fall into the acquired taste category. Because, like I said, it does seem as geared towards kids, but there is an interesting story being told. Excuse me. And then the other one that is not on the list, which is probably on purpose, is The Acolyte. Now, I want to get this out the way now. I'm not going to save it to the end of the video. I would put The Acolyte in the one more rewrite section, which is right there, barely out of the one where you can kind of say that the bad categories. I would honestly put it in it like it just needed one more like read through from like a couple different writers, like a couple different backgrounds, all of that. Just because it 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 made it was one of those shows that made it very easy for the fans to hate on it. It like didn't do itself any favor as far as like protecting itself against fan backlash and stuff, especially knowing the political climate that we were in at the time and kind of are in now. I would say actually social political climate than just political, but I honestly really enjoyed the story of the show. It is unfortunate that there were not. I can't even say that there wasn't enough male characters to be like it wasn't balanced enough. Like because like they still had like what was his name, Jord or whatever, like the Padawan who died unceremoniously, sort of. Um, like the bad guy, I forgot his name, Manny Jacinto, who he played him. He was actually really good. I don't know why I said that with the Hispanic accent at the end, but and our boy from Squid Game. Like I enjoyed what was going on in that story just altogether. And Amanda Steinberg did not deserve the hate that she got. I'm sorry, I don't care. She did really good playing both of those roles. I did think the action scenes and that we did get in that show were pretty good. Um, Maybe I could understand some of the complaints when it comes to things that go against established story beats or points or whatever. Far as like things that might have been alluded to in other Star Wars works that I don't even think have been in the movies themselves. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into all of that. Either way, I think the Acolyte could have benefited for just one more rewrite and just one more go through the writers' room, just to um, kind of make it a little more appealing to all of it. You can't please everybody, but you can try to appeal to all of the fan bases in a way that does not seem disingenuous or where it's just like too much going on where it doesn't seem like it has an identity or anything like that. I think it could have done those things and still been an entertaining story. And it could have I do think it could have done those things and still told the story that it did and possibly got that season 2 that was teased at the end, which actually looked quite promising. I really wish TV shows would stop doing that. Just put the story out of the story in the first season. Don't rely on the second one. If you get a second one, cool. We'll tell a better story. Hopefully, we'll build upon what we told the first time. You know. All right. So getting into the things that I actually saw, that are actually on this list here. I believe this is the Phantom Menace. Now, to be fair, I have only watched the Star Wars movies and a lot of the shows only once. And that was, I just, like I said, that was during COVID. So that was about 3 years ago that I actually watched these movies. However, I, being a movie buff, have literally listened to hours and hours of content detailing a lot of the story beats in these movies, a lot of the things that maybe were supposed to happen but didn't happen because of whatever reason when it comes to these movies. Um, so the one watch that I did do years ago doesn't really hold that much weight. Okay, I know my shit. Okay. He says that, and then he's about to proceed to say how he watched these movies and cannot tell you what happened in them as I go through and rank them. All right, let's get into it. So the Phantom Menace, I actually do remember pretty well. That's the one with Darth Maul. It was actually the most interesting. I ain't gonna say it was the best of the prequel series. And crazy enough, I did actually watch these in this order that they have right here, the in chronological order instead of release order. I am a chronological order nerd. If I purposely will avoid certain franchises because I know that it's not done. And I don't want things. I don't want prequels and stuff to come out after the fact that like recontextualize how I see things. I want it all to be there so I can just go watch it in order and just be able to, see things that way. When we talk about the Halloween franchise, we probably gonna get the why I do things like that now. Because I'm traumatized by that franchise. But anyway, the Phantom Menace, why did I say that like that? It is. It's like 11 o'clock. I should have did this video right when I got off work. I don't know why I like chilled and waited this long, but this is what y'all dealing with for this here video. We're gonna have fun for this one, okay? The Phantom Menace. I want to say this one will go up in everything you need. So that is our like second best tier. If y'all could, obviously y'all can see that. Because I just think that like if you just want to watch a really fun sci-fi movie, then it has what you need. If you want a intro point into the Star Wars universe, I think it kind of has everything that you need. Which is why it goes in everything that you need. Crazy enough, I do believe I was a child when this movie came out. I don't know why I said that with a question mark. Duh, they came out early 2000s. I was born in 96. I remember having a Darth Maul costume at one point for Halloween, and I never saw anything Star Wars, which is just like a crazy memory to have. But when I finally did watch this movie, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit let down by the presence of Darth Maul in this movie. I thought he was gonna be like this big overarching villain, but then like he was really just kind of the B tier bad guy that only existed for this movie and this movie alone until we get to Clone Wars and Rebels. But as far as like the characters and the story, everything kind of works here. I do think it's kind of unfortunate that I did know a lot of the story before watching the movies. So it was just kind of watching it just to see how it all played out as opposed to kind of like experiencing everything, how it unfolded. Kind of like naturally. But yeah, everything that you need, it's fine. There's something else I want to say about this movie. Sorry, Liam Neeson only exists for this movie and this trilogy, because I really did like his character. Mm, I don't think I have much else to say though. Besides, Phantom Menace was really good, and it is probably my second favorite of Prequels trilogy. But what is definitely not my first or, tied for second favorite in the prequel trilogies was, I believe this one is the Clone Wars. And I feel like this one just boils down to that. The sand meme. Oh my god, the sand meme. Oh, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't remember anything that happened in this movie because I think this is the one that I slept through the most. Like I slept. I can. Did Jango Fett die in this one? Is this the one that makes one dude killed him in? I do believe I remember seeing that action scene. I remember seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi and General Grievous having a fight. I don't know what the fuck happened in this movie. This movie was trash. It was bad. So, but I put it in acquired taste just because I feel like that there are some people out there who would probably If there's anybody who would say this is their favorite movie, please come forward. Please come to the comment section. Please explain to me why this is your favorite. I would love to go back and watch it with your words playing in my subconscious. And hopefully it subconsciously makes me enjoy the movie more. I'm not looking forward to rewatching this movie. I'm actually planning on rewatching all of this stuff to redo this video after a fresh ranking. Most likely probably won't happen till next Star Wars Day. But cause we gonna keep doing this, and I think I got a bunch of ideas to fill in, in between having to redo anything. But yeah, back to the actual subject at hand. This one, I can't see the titles from here. Okay, this one is. I'm trying to guess it. It's the Phantom Menace, the Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, and damn it, what is this movie called? Star Wars Episode 3. I thought it was gonna come too. It's not, but I know this is the one where Order 66 takes place, and the Battle of Mustafar, I believe is what we call that. The big fight between basically the moment that Anakin Skywalker becomes the moment he dies and right before he becomes Darth Vader. Oh my god, this movie, like, I don't actually, after watching the Clone Wars, I actually think this one only goes. Nah, I'm not gonna be. I gotta be real. It does go into watch at least once. I think everybody should see that third Star Wars movie that I can't name at the moment. Why can I think of the name? That is so crazy. Star Wars Episode 6. The Phantom Menace, the Clone Wars. I really can't think of what that movie is called, but it was really good. I will say that. The one thing about the prequel trilogy, I will say, is the Wirefu CGI PlayStation 2 lightsaber battles, especially like a lot of the big battles that happen, don't really do it for me. I will say that is one knock that I will say that against these movies particular, just in like I don't do that towards anybody who's that was the outside of my notes. I didn't just dig my notes right in on screen. I wouldn't do that. I'll pause the screen and do that off screen. I sanitize before I come back on. But anyway, I will only judge the early 2000s graphics and stuff like that because I feel like that was the time period where a lot of movies was doing too much with the limited technology, and it just looks so ridiculous now. I will give a pass to the older movies because they were just figuring things out, and a lot of times they was doing a lot for that time period with a little, whereas all it took was a little TLC and we could have made that look a lot better. However, the actual story means the impact. That last battle does still look great. I can't imagine. Let me see. Some of the lava stuff is a little off, but other than that, like the battle itself is so emotionally impactful that you can really overlook that stuff in that moment. The death of Padme is weird though. Like, does she die from a broken heart? Or are we looking deep into it? Do we think like it was Anakin, like the force, the hate that he was feeling killed her? Was it that? I don't know. That was all a little weird. Also, her name in the her name in the babies like soon as they come out, like that looks so cheesy and so weird, and I feel like that is a hallmark. Prequels have to do this thing so that we know how we got to a certain point in the original movie that came out before the prequels. Like that sounds that like it didn't work. And the plot hole of the original trilogy, well, it's not necessarily a plot hole because they came out first, but or at least I will give them that. Um they like have a moment where they say like Leia has like she remembers her mom or some shit before she died, and it's like how you remember moms before she died, and you were seeing shapes at that point, or do freshly newborn babies even see shapes, or is it just sounds? I don't know. I don't know biology. I failed that. Anyway, moving on. I know I know these names, at least the first one, and maybe even the second one. So we got Star Wars: A New Hope. This is the one I almost ended up watching first. Um, but I believe I was googling right as I started watching them, and as soon as he got through like the first battle scene where everybody like alarms is going off and everything like that, I think I looked it up and it was like, oh no, there are like four other movies, five actually, before this movie, and I was like, yep, pause, start over where we need to go. I keep just pressing stuff. But so this is one of those cases where you got to give props where props are due, and A New Hope was a really great movie. I think this is one of those movies that do stand the test of time. If you're a sci-fi nerd and you have not seen the original Star Wars, like how? Honestly, the fact that I had waited this long in life to watch it, like I only watched it for the first time 3 years ago, I am disappointed in myself. Okay, I could have been enjoying this stuff for a long time. Um, let me see. Let me see. What do I really have to say about the movie itself, though? I was let down because I don't think there's any Yoda in this movie, and that was like the one character that I was always like, if I was gonna watch Star Wars for anything, it was Yoda. Um, so that was really disappointing. Also, Luke Skywalker is a yeah. I don't care what people have to say. Ain't nobody gonna watch this video. Ain't nobody gonna be in them comments coming for me. Luke Skywalker is a whiny bitch in this movie, and it is annoying. I hate characters like this, especially when they're the main character. I hate it when they just have no, like they just like get off the screen. Give this time to somebody else. Um, Also, because I came into this franchise knowing certain points, like Luke and Leia being siblings, the whole thing between them was very, very weird watching this movie. Very uncomfortable, you know? Just gave me a little, the skibbities. Just, yeah. But I would still say this is a movie everybody should at least watch once. You know what I mean? You have to hear what James Earl Jones sounds like as Darth Vader. Like, back in the day. Also, that the lightsaber battles. If you're going to old Star Wars for lightsaber battles, don't. And right next to that, I believe this is Empire Strikes Back, and this is another one of those movies. I gotta give props where props are due. This I knew exactly what was going to happen in the movie. I knew all the important story beats. Every single one of them hit the way that they were supposed to. Like everything was just executed so perfectly in this movie. I love that it kind of seems like they definitely set the standard for the sequels and movies like these kind of being less triumphant maybe than like the first round, because by all intents and purposes they lose in this movie. Spoiler alert if you've never watched this movie and somehow is watching me talk about ranking these movies. Like they lose in this movie, and you have the big I'm your father moment with Luke and Darth Vader. Which did I just call him Dark Vader? Oh my god. Like I mean technically he was Dark Vader. He was played by James Earl Jones. Um or at least voiced by him. I'm being facetious, people. I be saying a lot. Like I am sleepy, but it's just a really good movie, and that stands the test of time. If I will say, if you cannot get over older special effects, maybe those might not stand the test of time to you. But if you are one of those people who can view older filmmaking and with the mindset that this was made back in the day, so it's not going to look like things that are made today, then you would thoroughly enjoy this movie. Even if you're not a sci-fi nerd, I think just being a fan of quality storytelling, just being a fan of action movies, it hits. It hits. Those people who be like, did that share that status every freaking 6 months. I'm like, oh, I'll never be bored enough to watch Star Wars. Um, first, like I really just I pity you. I do. I do, because you just don't possess. You don't possess the levels of creativity and imagination that it takes to enjoy such a quality experience. And moving on to the third part of this quality experience is, oh my God, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and man, I guess I don't know the subtitles to all three movies, but I would still say everybody should watch that trilogy um at least once, because you got to see how it ends. I maybe it's not. Hmm. No, because I don't have a problem with like the Ewoks and all of that. Those are other people's criticisms. I don't mind it. I think it's really adorable that you have these cute little teddy bear creatures that are helping them have this battle against the Empire. And really, it's kind of most of this movie. You know, at the end of the second movie, Han gets captured. So at the beginning of this movie, they're getting them back. And, you know, hijinks ensue. And I do believe this is the one where we see Boba Fett die, quote unquote. Um, Crazy how this man was like down there for so long. Like he died in the 80s, and then they were just like in the 2020s was just like, let's bring this character back on the screen. And everybody was like, sure. This is also where we have Darth Vader kind of going for full circle from, you know, he obviously at the last of the prequel trilogy, he turns from Anakin to Darth Vader, you know, going from the light side to the dark. And then at the end of this movie, we have him going from the dark side to the light side, basically because of his son, all because of Luke. And this I will say, just because it's something that I have known my entire life. It did not hit as hard as it could have, but I cannot hold that against the movie because it predates my existence. I don't know what to do with that. Um, but as I said, everybody should watch the original Star Wars trilogy at least once. If you watch these movies and you don't like them after the fact, I will pay you $10 per hour that you feel like you've wasted your life. Um, I have to wait for this thing to disappear off my screen before I can continue. There we go. So the entire original trilogy is in everybody should at least watch once. And I don't know if anybody is going to jump on my head for doing this, but I, I I do think that it's trying to go in the place that it's trying to go in the place that a lot of people probably want me to put it, and probably lower. But I do think everybody should have at least watched the Force Awakens, the sequel trilogy, the first movie in the sequel trilogy that came out. This movie came out. I don't know if it was the year I graduated or like a couple years after. But I remember it was a really big deal when it came out because I used to work in a five. I worked in a Five Guys that was right, literally like the mall was right here behind the Five Guys, and right outside the mall, on the other side of the mall was a movie theater. Everybody, when I say everybody who came in Five Guys that day were dressed up in some sort of Star Wars gear, whether it was just regular Star Wars merch or full on Star Wars costumes. They were out and about for this movie. And I, again, was still kind of in my, Star Wars is for nerds. I'm not watching it. So, when I finally did watch it, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Like, it is so much for me to not grow up off these movies, but to still have that same experience of like, wow, this feels super nostalgic. I'm so lying. It just felt very derivative to watch them kind of retread a lot of the beats from A New Hope, but it worked. I can't really fully I can't really bag on it that much because it did make for an entertaining experience. Like, I immediately saw what they were going for. Like, we're just about to try to capture the essence of that original trilogy while, switching some things up and telling a different story altogether. It did what it needed to do. It did what I wanted it to do. Outside of, because I did want in this movie, based off the marketing for it, I desperately wanted to see Finn become a Jedi. I thought that would have been really dope to see. Obviously we did not get that. Still holding that against y'all, but that's okay. But the movie itself is really good. The performance, specifically Kylo Ren. Oh my god, Kylo fucking Ren! Like, the way that man's career blew up after this movie, and I still ignored it for years. I almost forgot his name. Adam Driver. He's so good. I'm actually a little bit salty he didn't get Mr. Fantastic. No shot to Pedro Pascal, but and John Boyega. Like I said, I wanted to see Finn become a Jedi just because I was really into John Boyega at the time. As an actor, like, I enjoyed pretty much everything he was in. Although I enjoyed everything that he was in up to actually watching this, because I think this movie was like his big like coming out party, and then after that, you saw him in a lot more stuff. And Daisy Ridley as Rey, I didn't have any problems with her performances when I watched this movie. Um, Maybe there was some lazy writing in regards to her character, but again, it worked within the scope of this movie. I cannot be too anal about it. I wanted to not I wanted to hate, but when I see a lot of criticism about certain things, I do try to view things with that in mind. So when I was watching the movie and they were kind of, I guess you can say, expediting her entire becoming nobody, coming from nobody and becoming a Jedi, I guess I didn't really care that she was like progressing so quick, because we're dealing with space wizards and laser swords. If you told me that because there are so few Jedi in the universe, that the light side of the force or whatever is like anybody who is force sensitive, and that just has that type of light in them, like that the force is just going to be stronger within them, so that like maybe them mastering the force just comes easier. I don't care. I don't care. Does it work within the scope of the movie? Yes. All right, cool. And I felt like that worked within the scope of this movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for it. Maybe the end with I believe it was Finn and Rey both holding their own with Kylo kind of didn't work a little bit, but the movie was entertaining. I think everybody should watch because I feel like if you watch the sequel trilogy movie, if you watch The Force Awakens, and you enjoy it, you should go back and watch that. That would make you go back and watch the original. Well, like okay, this is the reboot. Basically, where did it start from? Like, it serves its purpose, I believe. However, a movie that did not did not serve its purpose. Like, sir, why do you exist? Um, I believe this one is. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna put them in acquired taste though. I feel like some people might like that one. Let me see if I can tell you what happened. Because I said yeah, I did not say at the beginning. Oh yeah, I've watched a bunch of videos. I know the details and the story beats and da 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 da. Like, I'm genuinely trying to think at this moment. Did The Force Awakens end with Rey finding Luke, or did this one end with Rey finding Luke? All right, if I can think back in my mind, okay, think back in my in my brain, in my brain box. Doop, doop, doop. Put in the code. Okay. The Force Awakens, Han Solo died. Yes, because I think it was the thing like with the sequel trilogy, one of the original characters died each one. So I think in Force Awakens, Han Solo died. Yes, am I wrong? Oh no. And in the second one, the I don't know what to call you. I know the third one. That's crazy, right? I don't. I don't know the name of the third one in the first two. But I don't know the second one in the third one. Oh man, I just yeah, I don't know what happened in this movie because I think next to the Clone Wars, I also slept through a lot of this movie. I remember the Knights of Ren scene where they have, I believe it is Snoke. Yeah, I believe it's Snoke. He's like in the chair, and then Kylo Ren did the trick with the lightsaber where he turned him his own and just bisected him. That was amazing. I did enjoy that whole action scene, but I could story wise, I don't know what happened in this movie. Along with the original trilogy characters dying, I think this one killed off Leia. If they didn't kill off Leia, she definitely got sucked into space on this one and then died in the next one, which was like a weird thing to do because like she got sucked into space, just kill her off then. But on to the next one, which is the Rise of Skywalker. I know that. Yeah, yeah. I think one more rewrite on the Rise of Skywalker could have probably at least brought this movie up to just fine. Um, but it just doesn't work because I do remember like watching it and being like, um, see, I don't remember watching it and being like anything because it did not hit. I think I was just like hoping that Kylo Ren would kind of have the same story as Darth Vader, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that because then that just would have been doing Darth Vader all over again, really. Um, wait, but they kind of did because then he just turned like he basically gave his life force to Ray, which in turn kind of does make him go from the dark side to the light again, and then he just dies at the end. I think maybe to make it a little different, he lives at the end. That could have, maybe hit a little bit. I don't know. Cause I can't wait to actually rewatch these movies now. Cause the way that I cannot even remember what happened in them is crazy. I do know that this is the one for sure that killed off. Wait, let me not say for sure with such certainty. Yeah, no, 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 no. Luke definitely dies at the end of this one. Because I believe it's like this is where we get the scene where everybody's going through the Force Ghosts, or it's not everybody, but I want to say they are speaking to Ray in that moment, and Luke pops up in that situation, which was like the realization, like, oh, okay, he did actually die because he did like the whole Force projection trick and then died after that. But anyway, um, the, the battle scenes worked. I think that's what's putting it up in a one more rewrite. One more rewrite. Um, a lot of the emotional beats did work for me. I believe the story between was the character. I can't remember if the character was named Rose or if the actor was named Rose. But the Chinese girl that was with Finn, that was a pretty dope storyline, and everything that was happening. I didn't mention him in the other two movies. Oscar Isaacs was a really good act. He's a really good actor, and I really enjoyed Poe as a character. Um, and the chemistry between Poe and Finn was everything. I could have just, I would have been fine with just movies about just them having space adventures. Like they have a lot of chemistry, and because um, Ray was doing like a lot of like her own Jedi training stuff to where she was separate from them a lot. So you just naturally got a lot more of them two on screen together. Let me see. Since that is the end of the sequel trilogy, I'm gonna do like a mini ranking in between them, like just the trio of characters, all three. Um, I will. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care that much for the original trilogy trio. It goes original trilogy trio, sequel trilogy trio, prequel trilogy trio. Um, Anakin, Han, Padme. I'm sorry. They down as characters, especially with the expansion of the Clone Wars. Which let's get closer to that now that we're out of the actual movies that matter, I should say, are or more accurately the ones I actually saw. So next we have Star Wars Visions. I did not watch that. I think that is just like a lot of shorts, and it is a lot of animated shorts. Not really my bag. Don't know what that is. It's some sort of Star Wars animation. I can't tell you. Andor. Ooh, Andor. Actually, is that Rogue? That's not Rogue One. So I feel so bad. Andor is about to go in the top of having watched it because technically I did watch 2 or 3 episodes, but I can't tell you because I think I fell asleep. Sorry. My TikTok brain kicked in when I was watching those episodes. There was nothing happening. It was very slow. And I think I was watching it after another one of my like Wednesday night shows. Um and it was just like one of those things where I'm like, oh, do I want to watch the show or do I want to go to bed and wake up for work at a good time tomorrow? I think I want to wake up for work at a good time. But I am eagerly anticipating rewatching this show on my next go through just because I have heard how just great it is. I do think it's one of the few Star Wars shows to win an Emmy. Either it won an Emmy or was nominated for one, and it wasn't just for like crafts. It was for like directing, writing, acting. It's one of the big ones. Um, so I'm excited to rewatch to go and watch it. Which brings us to wait a minute. I'm gonna keep going if I'm gonna keep going because I think Rogue One might be covered up by my camera. Tech stuff. Tech stuff. Sorry. So this, I believe, is the Clone Wars movie. I'm going to throw it down and haven't watched it with an asterisk because I heard that the Clone Wars movie is really just the first couple or first few episodes of the Clone Wars TV show, which I did actually go and watch, which we will get to in a second here. But of course, something I already mentioned is definitely. You know what? I hate to do it, although it is going to go over Phantom Menace. I actually think The Mandalorian doesn't go and everybody should watch it at least once. I think it's everything that you need. I think if you're a Star Wars fan, it is everything that you need. If you like action movies, it is everything that you need. If you like the typical Lone Wolf and Cub storyline, it is everything that you need. If you've never watched a single Star Wars thing, you have just the tiniest speck of interest in watching a Star Wars thing. It is everything that you need. Cinematography, the writing, the performances. The Mandalorian season 1 is one of the best TV shows, best seasons of TV. Let me say in the streaming era, okay? Because there's a lot of really good shows that I have not watched. Some of them I just simply have no interest in. Um, but The Mandalorian is it. Like I said, when I originally watched that first episode, it was so good that it made me watch all of the movies because I felt like I needed to know more before I even ventured any further into this universe. Obviously, one of the most iconic characters created in the 2020s got Grogu, which is like, how do you do that? How do you create a pop culture icon this just this far into pop culture? But the only thing keeping this show out of everything, out of watch at least once, is the third season. I was about to say the second and third season, but I think I actually really enjoyed the second season. Whereas the third season was doing a lot of meandering, a lot of dilly dallying, and a lot of nothing. In a lot of nothing and a lot of too much. Like I feel like the third season got a little too big for his britches. Yeah, yeah. The third season heavily relied on you knowing prior Star Wars information, whereas I feel like the first one, I won't say the first two seasons, but specifically the first season of The Mandalorian, you don't have to know anything about Star Wars so you can enjoy it. Um, I really it hurts my heart a little bit. It does. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to see what this is. If this is low key, this look like this might be the Acolyte. I'm not gonna lie. I might have to take a pause and see if I can actually. Okay, so I actually cannot tell what this is. I want to say this is actually a picture of the Acolyte. If it's a picture of the Acolyte, then I already said I will put that in acquired taste. But I'm getting towards the end of the list, and I notice I don't see Rogue One either, which I will put in. I will put that up and watch at least once. That's clearly a picture of a lightsaber, and that is clearly a red lightsaber. I do think that is a picture of the Acolyte, so I'm gonna put it there. I'm actually gonna put it over the Clone Wars though, when it comes to acquired taste, because I thoroughly enjoy it. It is the taste that I acquired. Um, but Rogue One, real quick, just because the picture is not there, and I do want to talk about it a little bit to acknowledge its greatness, because that is one of the like. I remember after I watched that movie, I literally sent my brother the clip of Darth Vader and like that Darth Vader hallway sequence. It was like, this is one of the best action sequences I've watched in a long time. Like, not, and what's crazy is after that, after sending him that and going back and rewatching it a couple more times, I realized that I did not mean that in the sense of the choreography or anything like the cinematography, anything like that. Well, actually, yes, the cinematography, because the cinematography, the score, the visual, like everything about like the impact of that scene when especially when you come to the realization that this is literally what is happening at the start of New Hope, like 5 minutes, 3 minutes before A New Hope starts. This is what is happening, and this is why everything is everybody is going ape shit at the beginning of that movie. It hits so freaking hard, and not only that, but the ending. I want to say like 30 to 45 minutes of Rogue One is just it's just fantastic. Um and I'm gonna be a little honest here. That is one of the movies I slept through, which is why I say the ending of it. Because I feel like I woke up and everything was going to shit. Like all of the characters was starting to die. Everybody was making these like triumphant last stands. And I was just fresh off of a nap. So it was a hell of a way to wake up, and it left a hell of an impression. I cannot wait to rewatch this movie. I also can't, like I said, can't wait to rewatch Andor and go straight into Rogue One, because I like a full story arc. I like things like that. I like a journey. Uh, Speaking of a journey, this is a detour that a lot of people did not enjoy, but I had a good amount of fun with it. I thought Boba Fett was just fine. I didn't come into it expecting. I didn't have 30 years of expectations weighing on this show. Um, I was just excited based off of the glimpses that we got in Mandalorian season 2 and Did I just lie that quick? Was he in season 2 or season 3? I feel like he debuted in season 2. So I'm gonna just stick with that. Um, but yeah, it was okay. I had a fun time while watching it. I was let down a couple times while watching it, but that really was no fault of the show itself. I'm one of those people where one of those peoples, yeah, them peoples, where I can just kind of I could submit to my expectations being what lets me down on something whereas it's not any fault of the movie or TV shows or the creator's execution of things to meet my expectations. Like it's not up to them. Um, but yeah, I like Boba Fett. It was fine. I would say my excitement as far as rewatching it is like kind of in the middle. It's not like all the way up there, but I enjoyed it. It's just fine. And next up, these are a little out of order, so I want to go Clone Wars first, just because it definitely came out first. It was a huge. I did say it was late. I'm sorry. It was a huge thing when I was a kid. I remember seeing so much like the Clone Wars was like the main thing on Cartoon Network when I was a kid. So I was always seeing cartoon or commercials with it and stuff like that. But I ignored it because I didn't like the art style and also wasn't a Star Wars person. However, I became a Star Wars person. And then Mandalorian came out. And then Mandalorian season 2 came out. And Mandalorian season 2 introduced my favorite Star Wars character now, Ahsoka, played by the beautiful, the incomparable Rosario Dawson, who I've had a crush on since The Rundown. Oh my God, Rosario Dawson in The Rundown was so fun. Anyway, um, so just based off of Rosario Dawson playing her in live action alone made me go, I need to learn more about this character. I need to see more from this character. Where do you get the most of this character? The Clone Wars. And she easily, not like bar none, any of the episodes focused on her are some of the best episodes. She always have some of the best story driven episodes. Like, the ones that focus on Han Solo or not Han Solo, I'm sorry. Obi-Wan Kenobi, fine. The ones that focus on Anakin, fine. A lot of the ones that focus on Anakin also focus on Ahsoka because, he's her master, she's his Padawan. She's just easily one of the best characters in the Star Wars universe, and based off of Ahsoka alone, I'm going to put it in watch at least once. However, this is not a show only about her. It is pretty much an anthology where it focuses on a lot of different characters within the Star Wars universe throughout the period of the Clone Wars. So not only do you get a lot more Ahsoka, but you get so much more of Anakin before he becomes Darth Vader. You get a lot of words. You get a lot of Obi-Wan Kenobi, you get a lot of Padme, you even get a good chunk of Darth Maul, which I absolutely love. They also introduce Asajj Ventress. Ventress is one of the coldest characters in the Star Wars universe as well. I love her character. I'm actually glad that she's, at least far from what I can remember, hasn't had an on-screen death, because that means she can still come back in live action. Come on, Ahsoka season 2. Um, yeah, like it just I think the Clone Wars just it gives you more of the things that you somewhat enjoy. If you just enjoy these characters a little bit in the movies, the Clone Wars will make you love them. I love the Clone Wars. I don't go up for animation like that. Especially this kind of animation where it doesn't look that visually appealing initially, but the story is so good that you can look past it. and it's just great. Also, I didn't mention the clones actually themselves, especially like Rex, Echo, like all of those kind of the ones who actually have like a distinct character. They even introduce you to the characters who eventually become the Bad Batch, which I thought was so dope. Um, it's it's character driven, but it's not long and drawn out like a character driven movie would be, or more character driven TV show would be, because it's a cartoon and it's trying to keep the attention of children almost. Um, it plays out that way, and it becomes it's a roller coaster. It is a ride. It is one of the best rides you ever go on, and honestly, what I was saying about the Phantom Menace and why I couldn't put in everybody should watch it at least once. The Clone Wars take Order 66, which is one of the most important things to happen in the Star Wars universe. It takes that event that was just based for real, for all intents and purposes, only teased in that last movie of the sequel trilogy. It takes that moment and just elevates it to the upper mountaintops of TV show storylines. The journey that the characters go on just based off of that event is magnifique. Like, I have a friend who is a Star Wars fan who says he has not watched the Clone Wars yet. When I got into that part of it, that is when I just kept coming to work every day like, bro, you have to watch the Clone Wars, like, just to see how they do Order 66, because you get, it's like all of those scenes that you see in the movie of Order 66, you get like whole episodes in 3 episode arcs that seem like it is happening during, like, just in that one moment. Oh my god, it's so good. I cannot rave about the Clone Wars anymore, honestly. It's one of the best animated shows ever. I do not care. Um and one show that honestly does get very close to it is the Bad Batch. You get introduced to the characters of the Bad Batch in Clone Wars. So you have, yes, I believe Echo he joins the Bad Batch. He was one of the regular clones, one of the part of their like troopers that used to be with like Ahsoka and them, and then he joins the Bad Batch with is it Rex? No, Rex doesn't join them. I know Rex. Rex comes in like it's like comes in to help them. Look, I'm so mad that I forgot their name because I actually really liked all of the Clone Wars characters. I remember Crosshairs because he has one of the better arcs of all of the characters there, and then Omega being like the one of the few female clones or whatever. She's like the main character in that whole story, which is actually is a really great character. There the emotional beats in that show also, for it to be an animated show, like it hits so hard. And actually, I'm about to change that. I'm not even about to. Yeah, no, the Bad Batch goes in. Everybody should watch it at least once. If you're a Star Wars fan, watch it at least once. If you are, if you like action, watch it at least once. If you like the whole ragtag group of people coming together for this one cause type of storytelling, watch it at least once. It Star Wars TV shows just hit so hard that it is ridiculous. Um, so, mm, before we get into the bad of this, back to the Bad Batch. Also, Wanda Sykes does a voices a character in here. I believe her name is Fee. I just love hearing Wanda Sykes for being a part of the Star Wars universe. It makes sense. Solo movie, didn't watch it. I heard it was bad. I love Donald Glover. I don't want to watch him in a bad thing. Um, I am planning on eventually going back and watch it. I also think that this movie is an unfortunate byproduct of the Game of Thrones curse, where basically anything that the Game of Thrones actors do after Game of Thrones was a hit, is like not great. It's not great, and Amelia Clark is in this movie. Who was like, poor Amelia Clark. She was so good. Why am I struggling with her name? Amelia Clark. She was so good as Daenerys, and then it's like Sarah Connor didn't work. Character in the Secret Invasion just didn't hit. There's another I'm not thinking. Oh, this movie didn't hit. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Tales of the Jedi. It's fine. I believe that it's just animated shorts, except it's about Jedi. So anything about the Jedi, I will watch. Hell, I played Star Wars games because they were about the Jedi's. At least the two Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. Both were. Outlaws was not. I was slightly disappointed in that. But that was a really fun game too. Also, you get baby Ahsoka. She's so freaking adorable. Baby Ahsoka is so precious. Yeah. Honestly, just for that episode alone, it's worth watching. But speaking of, before I get into Ahsoka, I have to do a little talk about the Rebels. I don't see Star Wars Rebels. I hope this is not Rebels. Because I don't look like Ezra, and there was no black character in Rebels that look like that. So, Star Wars Rebels would go, honestly, I would probably have to put that in. No. Everybody should watch at least once. It is such a great companion piece with Clone Wars. Such a great companion piece with Clone Wars. Specifically because you once again get more Ahsoka. And now that is post Order 66, you have a more mature, not even more mature, she's a full blown adult. Like, and she's like, because of that experience, almost wise beyond her years. And also a little traumatized because Order 66, duh. It picks up really good after everything that happens at the end of Clone Wars going into the Rebels. It's another one of those things where you would be surprised at how emotionally impactful it is for a cartoon. I do not want to admit on screen how many times that I bawled watching Rebels. But closing us out here, coming straight from Rebels, we go into Ahsoka. And the reason why I wanted to pause before talking about Ahsoka and just briefly touch on Rebels is because Ahsoka season 1 is really like Rebels. What did it end at season 5? Rebels season. I want to say it's like not Rebels season 5.5, but not necessarily Rebels season 6. Like it's almost season 6. It's like the prequel to Rebels season 6, if that makes sense, because it doesn't pick up exactly right after the events of Rebels, but you know. You know for sure what is going on as soon as you pick up with characters like Sabine Wren, who we experienced throughout the entire runtime of Rebels. You get the reintroduction of Ezra Bridger, who is a great character in Rebels. Only okay in Ahsoka. And then we also get the return of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which I did not talk about in Rebels. Oh my god. Thrawn is such a great villain. Such a great villain, especially in Rebels. Ahsoka was a little actually, no, I can't fully say that because the way that the show ended, like he knew he was gonna get back, and he knew that they was gonna have problems. Like the likelihood of any of them getting back was gonna be a problem. So, like he was just overconfident, which is very, very, very much a running trope when it comes to villains, especially ones that are overconfident and super smart. But just getting more of Rosario Dawson specifically as Ahsoka was enough for me to be like, it's everything that I need. It did do the thing where they would have definitely benefited from just putting all of their good ideas in this first season. like just telling the full scope of the story that they wanted to tell in this first season. Um, but clearly they made this with not only the intention of a season two, but with the certainty of a season two. Which is every day that I don't get that official announcement on it being filmed or finished or release date, I am waiting with a bated breath because it, this could not have been any more open ended. I don't think that there was a single storyline that was closed out. Um, Maybe besides what happens with Morgan, the character of Morgan Le Fay, or I said Morgan Le Fay. I'm mixing my universes with Morgan Elsbeth, um, who was introduced in Mandalorian season 2. She had her big fight with Ahsoka. Everybody was all mad, like, how can this random person just keep up with Ahsoka? Well, you see why afterwards. She was raised by Night Sisters. Um, that was really the only storyline that gets closed when like she dies at the end, like of Ahsoka. So I was like it did leave me at a state of like I cannot wait to see more. It's just that certainty of not knowing if I'm ever going to see it that makes me not want to put it and watch it at least once. I feel like this is everything that you need if you watched Rebels and you wanted more of those characters, of some of those characters. Um, and this show did hit a lot harder because I watched this show before I watched the Clone Wars and before I watched Rebels the first time. But literally right after I watched Rebels, I went back to Ahsoka and watched it again just because I had to experience the impact of this story while actually knowing a lot of the background details. I said background and details when I could have just said without knowing a lot of the details. But rewatching the story while knowing a lot of the details when it comes to the characters, it makes this show hit a whole lot harder. So I would say for anybody who has not watched any of this stuff, if you're going to watch, if you're going to watch the live action shows, you kind of sort of need to go ahead and dip into the animated shows. If you're going to watch the shows, you should definitely just go ahead and watch the movies. Like I said before, anybody who goes out spouting that bullshit, talking about some you'll never get bored enough to watch a Star Wars thing, trust me, if you will not feel a lick of boredom watching these movies. Maybe the Clone Wars movie. That is about it. Even still, if you like me and you got a good sense of humor, you can laugh through how bad some of it is. Um, but all in all, it is a journey worth taking, I would say. I'm not gonna lie, I did notice that there is a whole section here that I did not use, which is who, what, when, where, and why. Like, who made this? What were they thinking? When did it happen? Where were they at in their life when they thought this was okay? And why on God's green earth did this get green lit? You know what? I'm gonna actually throw that in there. Yeah. 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 Like I said, I don't remember a single thing besides the Knights of Ren scene that happened. And that was just like a 3 minute thing, 5 minute thing, the actual action I'm seeing. So yeah, this is I think this is it far as my tier ranking of the Star Wars movies and TV shows. Um, like I said, I really do think this is the acolyte right here, and if it is in its right place in acquired taste. Rogue One, um, would go and watch it at least once. Probably right up here before A New Hope. Probably right there before A New Hope. Honestly, yeah. Andor, can't wait to go back. Visions, probably will never watch it. This, don't know what it is. The Clone Wars movie. If it really is just that collection of the episodes of Clone Wars, technically I have watched it. Solo, and I'm gonna rewatch. I'm gonna go through it on my next rewatch. Just explain why I moved this down. Acquired taste because you might be able to laugh at it and enjoy it a little bit. And I do like that we get to see Mace Windu in action. We do get to see that up here, but apparently the way it ended, I don't like that for him. Like I said, that's the Acolyte. You know how I feel about that. One more rewrite. The only movie that I feel like could have really done with just like one more go in the writers' room, guys. And if I was being extra critical, I could put Boba Fett and maybe Ahsoka down in one more rewrite, but I can't. My enjoyment of those two just keeps them where they're at. Tell the Jedi, baby Ahsoka. Just go watch for Baby Ahsoka. It really is a great episode. It's so good, and you can watch it while you're making your coffee in the morning. Um, like I said, Mandalorian, everything you need. It will. I so badly want to push this and watch it at least once, just based off of the fact that it is the reason why I became a Star Wars fan. Um, I don't know. Can I actually attribute? No, because I watched Mandalorian before I played Fallen Order. I was about to say, could I attribute that to Fallen Order actually? Because I really did enjoy those games, but that was after. And yeah, my watch it at least once. I don't know if this is controversial for any Star Wars fans. I don't think it will be though, because like that last. You know what? I'm gonna pause and yo, I am so disappointed in myself. I knew it was alluding to the name of the Dark Side group, but I could not think of the name Revenge of the Sith for the life of me. And that is actually one of my favorite subtitles of of all the movies. I'm so upset that I just had to Google that. Revenge of the Sith. Oh my god, just the name is so, because it really was like they said we not gonna just come back and infiltrate the ranks of the Jedi Order. We're about to annihilate that shit. And for all intents and purposes, that's what they did. They didn't fully succeed, but they did it. They did it. Uh, but yeah, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope. Fuck. All right. I feel so upset because the names that I couldn't remember go together so well with Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. Why did I not think about that? But Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. I think those are pretty like. Come on, like you can't deny that those are pretty great movies. The Force Awakens, it's like if you want to hate on it, cool. Like, does it lean on nostalgia? Yes, it gets the job done. So, especially for newer fans, like those updated graphics and visuals of them upgraded visual effects, baby, you need them in your life. You know you do. Um, and then my computer wants to be a little weird, so all right. So my computer's trying to down me when I'm just talking through the last two things. But yeah, I've seen where they was. So that was my official ranking of all those Star Wars movies and TV shows. I really sorry I could not get those visuals together for the Acolyte and Rogue One because I wanted people to see like, no, this is where it sits. It's decent. Watch it. Um, it's not decent. It's just okay. But anyways, I know the Star Wars fandom is usually really toxic. I have a sneaky suspicion. Don't tell anybody. Nobody's gonna care what I think. Nobody's gonna have anything to say about what I have to say. That's just how it is. So with that, I'm just gonna say bye bye. I need to get some sleep, okay? And yeah, may the fourth be with you. I know this is a Star Trek thing. Don't shoot me in case anybody anybody who does give a shit actually watches this. Don't do that in my comment sections, okay? I was me. I was joking. Ha ha. Giggle giggle. Peace.